fell over immediately.
Hello.
Hi, Rachel.
How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. How are you?
Good. Yeah, good. Thank you. Just trying to balance my phone on top of the chest of drawers, as you do, on top
Yeah.
of one of the drawers.
Get it in a good position and then it falls
Yes.
over. That's just
Yeah.
the way, isn't it?
It is the way. It's the way of Zoom.
Exactly. Well, I turned the computer on this morning and just going to configure all your updates for about 90 million years, and then we're going to take ages to just do anything. So I've been sat here going, oh, hurry up, computer.
Oh no, what a nightmare.
But I think it's all working fine, so good. And the children have gone upstairs, so yes.
Oh,
fingers
ideal.
crossed. Should be all right. I will tick you off on my list. Hopefully we've got a couple more people coming, so I know I haven't selected a client. Check in. There we go. Oh, here we go. Morning. You all right, Louisa? Oh, she's got herself on mute still. All the glasses have gone on. It's a serious business. Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good.
I'm glad I've got my headset microphone on, because if not, the rain has just started going mental, and it's so noisy on my conservatory just there that don't doubt you'd be able to hear me. So loud right now.
It's been horrible weather.
No,
hopefully it stopped, because yesterday it never stopped all day, did it? Hopefully today
not
it will
really.
stop.
Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it? We could do with a little bit of. Rachel looks like she's looking out the sunshine out of her window.
Oh no, it's
no.
It's because I've got a lamp on.
Oh, okay. I thought, where are you? What part of the world are you in? It's not raining. Oh dear, just waiting for one more person, so we'll give her one more minute and then we'll get going, ladies. I'll start my usual reminders that remember you're in not in the yoga studio, you're in your rooms wherever you are, and you might not have as much space as you usually have. However, we're probably quite used to being in our spaces where we are now rather than in the studio. It'd be quite strange. On the few occasions we have been back in the studio, we've been like, oh, what is this space?
Yeah.
And there's been a change on Zoom that I can't unmute you. So you can, when I've muted everybody, you can unmute yourself to say something, but I can't unmute you. So I don't think that makes a huge amount of difference, apart from at the end, if you want to unmute yourself to say goodbye, really, that's all. It's about the only thing. I think we'll get started. Maybe Sarah's running late this morning, so we'll get started. And if you'd like to come to lying down, we're going to have our opening relaxation, probably much needed on a Sunday morning, more than any other morning, I reckon, actually. Yeah. Oh, here's Sarah. There you go. Excellent. There we go. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, sorry I'm a bit late.
That's all right. I just said, right, we'll get started lying down, and then I bet Sarah will join us, and there you go.
Yeah.
Don't worry, that's absolutely fine. You ready to go and everything?
Yeah, nearly. I'll be there.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Don't worry. Yes, a mat's probably a good idea. Oh, Louise, that looks nice and comfy. Oh, snuggly.
And it's cold.
Mm.
Because I've got wooden floors, it's when I put my arms out on the wooden floor, it's cold.
Oh no, we don't want that. We want you to be nice and comfortable. So good idea. Apart from you can't get your arm through. I was there to help you. Oh dear, oh dear. Right, let me check. I've checked everyone off. Sarah is there. Check in. There we go. Well, that's a nice yellow mat.
I lost it. It was downstairs, ready from Thursday.
Right, so I'm going to mute everybody now. And I was just saying, Sarah, that you can still unmute yourself, but I can't unmute you. So if you need to speak, then you have to be the one to do the unmuting.
Okay, thank
But
you.
I'm going to mute everyone now. Here we go. And just come to a nice comfortable lying down position if you haven't got there already. Rachel looks so comfortable. That is brilliant. Let me sort my screen out and then we'll be away. So just take a moment to notice and relax your body. See how you're feeling this morning. See if that normal, comfortable position you take is what's right for you today. Or have a think whether it might be more appropriate this morning to have something in a slightly different position. Maybe you'd like to have your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor today, or maybe the hands in and placed on the body rather than out by the sides, or maybe you have arrived in that exactly comfortable position, which is wonderful, and just enjoy that. If there are any parts of your body that are not quite as comfortable as they should be, just give them a bit of extra attention for a moment. Maybe send a bit of extra breath to that area, allowing the whole body to start to relax with your breath. Leaving behind everything else that's been going on this weekend, everything else you've got to do. Forget about that for now. Be present in this time, this moment. And this week in our lunchtime classes, we've been thinking about one of our yamas, which is one of the 8 limbs of yoga, which are our guidelines for a meaningful and purposeful life. And the first of the yamas is something called ahimsa, which some of you would have heard about in our lunchtime classes, which is the ethic of non-violence. And we're going to be thinking about that throughout our class today. Not just not killing anyone while we're doing our yoga, not thinking about being kind to ourselves, being positive mentally and physically, and loving and respecting ourselves as well as everything else. And I found a little poem on the internet about ahimsa and I thought it was really nice. So I'm going to read that to you now. Hopefully you haven't heard it in one of your other classes already this week, but if you have, then see what the words mean to you today. So ahimsa. Fill your heart with compassion and you will spread love. Caring for you, those around you and above. Ahimsa teaches non-violence and gentle living, treating us thoughtful and always forgiving. Aware of our thoughts and the energy we send, we're all connected from stranger to friend. Find peace of mind and within your own heart, the sacred place where ahimsa will start. Both inward and out, we inspire and grow and support all creatures with this gift we bestow. Be strong with emotion while each time accepting, open to improvement with soulful reflecting. Ask yourself with these thoughts, I am freeing. Do I support the growth of every world's being? I also found these words, which I thought were appropriate for today, from a website called Quiet Earth Yoga. And this says, we are bound by many things, our love for those around us, the earth from which we came and to which we will return, But most importantly, we're bound inextricably to ourselves. It is our job to love this soft creature, to honour its likes, its path, its passions. What others think of us is none of our business. But what we think of ourselves, that is the only business we have. So during your practice today, I want you to think about the voice which you're using to talk to yourself, and make sure you're treating yourself well. Make sure that voice is what you need to hear. And I have an affirmation for you to set a bit of intention for your practice today, which is I treat myself and others with care and compassion, and I honour all living things, which goes with our Ahimsa theme. So I'm going to say that to you again. I treat myself and others with care and compassion, and I honour all living things. I treat myself and others with care and compassion. I honour all living things. Now just let those words sink in just for a moment. Now what I'd like you to do, if you haven't already got your arms out wide along the mat, I'd like you to stretch your arms out so they're parallel to the body, and stretch them out a little bit wider than you would normally, and then bring your arms in and give yourself a hug. Now, I was experimenting with this yesterday, and there's several places you can have your hands to give yourself a hug. That sounds a bit obvious, but you can simply do it by just placing your hands on your shoulders, sort of vampire style almost. So you've got your elbows crossed on top of your chest, or you can slide your hands much further around, nearer to your shoulder blades, almost sort of the whole of the shoulder joint. So maybe while we're doing this kind of breathing exercise, you can experiment with where your hands are and just feel the difference. So if we start with the hands just on top of each shoulder and the elbows stacked on top of one another, just feel where your breath is at the moment. Just see what's moving and what's not, and see how much it makes your arms move. Do your arms gently move up and down a little, or are they quite still? And now I'd like you to begin on your in-breath to lift your elbows in towards your nose. And then on your out-breath, take your elbows back away. So breathing in and the arms come towards you. Breathing out and the arms go away from you. And just gently, slowly move those arms backwards and forwards with your breath. Then see if you can slide your arms around a little bit further so that they're encompassing more of the sides of your shoulders as well. And then continue the practice in the same way. When you breathe in, the arms come towards you. And when you breathe out, the arms move away. Now I'd like you to uncross your arms nice and slowly and lay them back down on the floor beside you, stretching those arms out wide. And then we're going to bring them back in so they're crossed the other way. No, I crossed them the same way. It's funny how you can cross them exactly the same way and think, yes, that's a different way. And then no, it's definitely not. It's interesting. So starting with your hands more on the top of your shoulders, or if you want to really have a go with it more, can't think of a better way of describing it than vampire style, but this is our eagle arms breathing, but maybe we should change this first bit to vampire breathing. There we go. So we're going to breathe in again and take our arms up towards our face and breathe out, taking the hands away. Exactly like we did on the other side. Notice if there's any difference with the arms crossed this way. You might feel completely different or exactly the same. Doesn't matter, there's no right or wrong. Then moving the arms further around to give yourself more of a big hug. Stretching the fingers round towards the sides a little bit. And then breathing in, taking the hands towards the face. Breathing out, taking the elbows, I should say, not hands, further away. Does it feel more constrictive with your hands around further, or does it feel nicer because you're locked in? Then releasing the arms back down to the mat and just allowing your breath to flow in and out with all the space you have in front of you. Many apologies if you can hear my dog having a cough in the background. Holly, nobody wants to hear that. Very sorry. Now we're just going to have a lovely full body stretch now. So I want you to stretch your arms and your legs away. I'm just going to remove my dog from the room. Holly, this way. Holly, come on. Out you go. Bless her. She has reflux and her tablets are supposed to help, but they don't seem to have done much there. So we're stretching our toes and our fingers away, feeling all the parts of the joints moving away from one another. So you might like to start with the legs. And so you're not doing a full active stretch the whole time here. So we've just moved the arms of the legs into this position, but don't give yourself a really big stretch the whole time. Start to think about your hips and start to think about the knees moving away from the hips, and then start to think about the ankles moving away from the knees, and then think about the whole of the legs stretching away. So then actively stretch those legs all the way from hip to heel. And if you want to turn the toes and stretch the front of the foot and the back of the legs more so, and have a stretch that way as well. And then releasing the legs and starting to think about the arms. So think about stretching the elbows away from the shoulders and the wrists away from the elbows and the fingers away from the hands. And this is where you find out that you're longer than you realise and you can touch the radiator. Stretching the whole of the arms from the fingertips, from the shoulders to the fingertips. I'm getting muddled up with all my body parts this morning. Oh well, no change there. And releasing the arms. Then we're going to take the whole of the body away at the same time. So I'm just going to have to wriggle down a bit so I can stretch my hands properly. So we're going to take the toes away and the fingers away and stretching everything else in between, making yourself as long as you can, enjoying that lovely feeling throughout the whole of the body. And then when you've had enough, releasing and bringing the arms back down, wriggling your body back to something that's nice and comfortable, and taking a few breaths before we prepare for our supine twist. So we're going to bring the feet onto the mat, bending the knees. And we're just going to start off with a very gentle twist. So we're going to take the knees over to the left, just letting them drop. We're not trying to do anything here, just letting them drop. If they don't reach the mat just from this gentle movement, it doesn't matter. And then we're going to bring them back to center, and then we're going to take them over to the right. I just want you to work in between from side to side, not doing too much with the hips, really, just drawing a circle with your semicircle with your knees almost. Do try and keep the knees together if you can. So if the foot lifts off the mat, that's fine. You might find that your hips are naturally nice and open and going right over. But just working gently from side to side. Now coming back to center, and then we're going to actively push into the feet, take the hips over to the right and drop the knees over to the left. And we're just going to hang out here for a minute. If you feel like you want to, you can look in the opposite direction. So increasing the twist and involving the top half of the body a little bit. Or you can carry on looking at the ceiling, whichever feels right for you now. And if you feel like you want to take the top leg over the top of the bottom leg to increase the stretch, then you can do that, just lifting that top leg over a little bit further. Naturally, my hand can rest quite easily on the top knee, and that sort of helps me balance a little bit there. I'm not pulling it over. I'm just I can rest my hand on there. You might be able to do that, you might not. Breathing into your top hip and relaxing. And then releasing the top leg, bringing the knees back together. We're going to come back to center. And then we're going to reposition ourselves by pushing into our feet. So we take the hips over to the left and then slowly sink the knees over towards the right. I've just realized I'm making no attempt to do any kind of mirror images. So if you are watching and thinking, what is she doing? Don't worry, just do which side I'm saying. And then again, think about your head. If you want to look in the opposite direction, you can involve the top half of the body a little bit. And if it feels right for you, you want to take that top leg over so the hips go a little bit further over, then you can. Resting the hand on top of the knee, if that's available to you or comfortable for you. Just breathing into that top hip. And releasing the top leg and bringing the knees back together. And take them both together, back to center. And have a little look to see if you've done a little journey on your mat like I tend to. We're going to do one more twist. This time we're going to do a twist with our eagle legs, like we just did our eagle arms for our breathing. So all you need to do now is cross one leg over the top of the other. So if you cross the right over the left, then we'll go towards the left. So we're keeping in the same sort of side that we did before. Now, my toes do not tuck underneath my leg in very many circumstances. Occasionally they do, but my leg sticks right out when I'm doing any kind of leg crossing. It's just the way my legs are, my hips are. If your toes tuck underneath around the other leg, I can do it if I lift my legs up in the air, but then if you want to tuck your toes around, you can. And then what we're going to do is take our eagle legs over to the left into an eagle leg twist. So just go nice and slowly, because remember your legs will feel different now they're in that twisted position. But you can feel that, or hopefully feel that twist intensified through the different leg position. Just breathing here for a couple more breaths. Then bringing the legs back to center, uncrossing the legs, making sure you're back properly in the center, maybe wriggling the hips a little before you cross the legs the other way. So this time I'm taking left over right, making sure the legs are crossed nice and comfortably, tucking the toes if you want to, or if you can, and then taking those legs over to the right, nice and slowly. I haven't really mentioned shoulders while we've been doing this, so we've been thinking more about the legs, but try and keep the shoulders nice and relaxed while doing this. If it lifts up, don't worry, but if your shoulder does lift up, then try to breathe into it and let it release down a little if you can. Then on your next in-breath, coming back up, bringing the legs back to the center, uncrossing the legs, giving the hips a little wriggle. And then we're going to roll onto our side. So take your time to roll over onto your side. We're going to do our lovely chalk circles. So we need to have room around us to be able to, there you go, I had a little test movement and I brushed the radiator with my hands, so I need to move down a little bit further. Check where you've got the best position in your room so that you can take your arm around in a full circle. Again, my second test still didn't work because I crashed into the sofa. So get yourself where you can. And then we're lining our legs up so they're at a 90-degree angle to the body. We're resting the head down onto the mat with what our bottom arm lying across the mat. If you want to sort of feed that through a little bit, if that's more comfortable, you can, but the bottom shoulder just needs to be in a nice comfortable position for this one, really. Not trying to do too much with that bottom shoulder. Then the hands are going to be together on top of one another. The head and the neck is nice and relaxed. And then we start to draw a circle with the top hand going up past the head. We follow with the eyes and the head opening around as we go. If the hand leaves the mat, that's absolutely fine. But just making a lovely big round circle all the way around. Oh, try not to knock the microphone out of your ear, Mary, that would be useful. Now, I'd recommend going fairly slow for this one, but if it feels more comfortable for you today, then you can go a little bit quicker than I'm going, or you can go slower than I'm going. Just see what it feels like for your shoulder today. And see when you're going around if you can aim to try and keep your knees together and your hips placed down on the floor while the top of the body is the one thing that opens out. Notice when you're opening up towards around the back where your hand lifts off of the mat or the floor and where you can place it back down again. And then see if the next time, if you can extend that any further. But don't worry if you can't, that might not be right for you today. Just enjoy the movement, the opening of the shoulder and the chest. Then the next time you reach your maximum stretch out behind you, I want you just to rest your arm there and breathe in to that furthest place open, furthest place away from your hand, sorry, so your chest and your shoulders really opening up. See if the hand will drop down and away a little bit further than it did before. And then complete that last circle, bringing the hands back to rest together one more time. Taking a couple of breaths here, breathing right into the space just in between the shoulder blades. Filling up the whole of your ribs with plenty of air and energy for a moment. Now we're going to think about swapping sides. So you can roll onto your back and take your knees the other side, or sit up and move. Again, making sure that wherever you move to, you've got enough space for that hand to make the full circle. So do a gentle test one. I know that my microphone does not like me lying on it, so I'm going to just sit with my head up for a minute while I just talk this one to start with. Make sure everybody's okay. Make sure again that you get your legs nice and parallel. Make sure your lower shoulder, the shoulder that's on the ground, is comfortable, your head is comfortable. You can always put a little something underneath your head if you need to, if that makes it better for you. And then bring the hands to rest together for a moment before you start to think about the journey of the circle of the hand. And then when you're ready, start to lift the hand around over the top of the face, opening out into that lovely big circle, taking the head with you. See what speed this side's going to be going at. See whether every little degree of the circle needs to be explored here, or whether you want a little bit faster movement on this side. What's right for this side today? Remember those knees. Again, if you can keep them nice and still, locked together, that's lovely. It gives you more of an intense stretch. But if it's more comfortable for you to let that knee go, then that doesn't matter. Maybe even experiment on the one circle, letting the knee drop away and see how different it does feel. Then when you think you've done about the same on this side, take that arm to the furthest point of stretch behind you and just rest there. Breathing into the shoulder, filling up the side of your ribs, and maybe letting it go a bit further away than it did before. Then completing your journey of the hand to let the hands rest back together. Breathing again here. Then rolling onto your back, resting the shoulders down into the mat, maybe taking the legs away into a Shavasana just for a moment, just seeing how the shoulders and the rest of the body are feeling. Maybe wriggling and jiggling just for a moment. And then we're going to roll onto our tummies. So when you're ready, rolling over onto your tummy and placing your head onto your hands. You made that little pillow with your hands. That should feel quite nice in your shoulders, having just done all that opening work with them. Just breathing into the belly and the chest this way around and opening up the back of the body a little. Just using the air to expand and release. And we're going to lift each leg up one at a time, stretching it away and then placing it down on the mat. So lift the left leg, stretch the toes away, place it down, and then the same with the right. If you want to do it one more time with each leg, then you can. And then maybe wriggling the hips so you can feel the hip bones working when you lift up those legs in that position. It gives you a real sense of exactly where the pelvis is on the mat. It's quite nice. Now we're going to do our Sphinx pose. So we're going to release the head from the hands and bring the elbows underneath the shoulders. So you're going to stretch your fingers wide. You're going to make sure those elbows are right underneath the shoulders. Mine weren't just then. And then you're going to look down at the mat. And then you're gradually going to lift your nose up so that you're looking just past the end of your mat and lifting up the chest and feeling the space in the neck, feeling that space between the shoulders and the ears. Not looking any further than the end of your mat, but you can really feel those upper back muscles and the arm muscles. If you want to experiment by going up and down a little bit with those muscles, you'll feel what I'm talking about. Just feel a lovely stretch from the belly button all the way up to the nose, keeping the feet heavy on the mat, breathing into the belly, into our lovely Sphinx pose. And then releasing back down to the mat, releasing the elbows, placing the head back on the hands. Breathing here. And we're going to go up into our Sphinx pose again. And then when we get there, we're going to swap our elbows for our hands and see if we can turn it into a cobra. So if you think a cobra is too strong for you today, then feel free to stay in the Sphinx pose. But remember to listen to exactly what your body wants to do today. Be kind to yourself. So we're going to start off by moving the elbows in underneath the shoulders, finding that nice place, stretching the arms out, the fingers out, sorry. Lifting the chest and looking away past the end of our mat. The feet are nice and heavy. Stretching again from belly button all the way to the nose, back into our lovely Sphinx pose. Then we're just going to take the hands and move them to where the elbows are. So have a try. Keep the elbows tucked in. Maybe you'll lift up a little bit higher, but don't want it to be too much higher. Make sure you're not collapsing into your shoulders, that you've got lots of space. Your chest is nice and open and your shoulders are relaxed and open. That's a lot better, Sarah. Well done. Be careful not to throw your head back too far. You're just looking a bit further than the end of your mat. That's it. And then when you've had enough, then gently lowering back down to the mat and placing the head on the hands again. Well, I suppose I was nearly said your hand on your hand, and you have got a hand on a hand. So there you go. My little mess ups of body parts was actually kind of right that time. Now I'd like to go up into Cobra one more time, but this time I want to go straight into Cobra rather than via Sphinx. So you just get used to what the difference is. So we're going to remember to keep those feet nice and heavy. So plant yourself into your feet, keeping the legs nice and strong, heavy, but still active. And then we're going to bring the hands underneath the shoulders and tuck those elbows in. So this time when we come up, we're going to press into the hands. We're going to open the chest and lift up little bit by little bit into our Cobra this way. So you can feel about the same height that you were when you were in your Sphinx pose, keeping those elbows in, heavy through the feet, open through the chest, the shoulders are sunk down, relaxed, open too. Our shoulders shouldn't be up by our ears. Then relaxing back down nice and slowly, releasing the hands. Resting your head onto your hands, resting the whole of your body. Again, feel your breath coming down into the lower belly and your ribs moving against the mat. Allow that feedback you're getting from the mat to nourish all of those areas and send that prana around your body. Then when you're ready, we're going to come up onto all fours. I just need a quick drink of water. You might need one too if you have one close by. Good option to take right now. And an adjustment of the leggings, that's what else is required. So we're going to come onto all fours and we're going to think about doing our thread the needle pose. So we're going to do this in stages. We're not going to go straight down into it. And I'm going to talk you through as we go. So if you're uncomfortable on your knees, in fact, I'm going to go forward. So I've got double layer of mat underneath my knees. You can pad underneath your knees for this. But remember, we want our knees about under our hips and our hands about underneath our shoulders. And all we're going to do to start with, to start off our thread the needle, is to just look with our head to the side and back. So I'm looking towards the right and then back to the mat, just working the muscles of the neck to start with. Nice and slow. Then we're going to add a bend in the elbow. So as we turn, we're going to bend our left elbow to start with and then come back. So turning the head, bending the elbow. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to just show the hand where it's going. So turn the head, bend the elbow, take the weight into the right hand and tuck that hand through underneath. So just working through nice and slowly. And then if once you've tucked your hand through, you want to start lowering that shoulder down towards the mat, you can. If your shoulder goes easily down onto the mat, you can work right the way down so that your shoulder and your head is down on the mat. But if that's not available to you, you can just go down as low as is comfortable. I don't know whether you can see better if I go this way or not. I can't see when I go down to see how you can see it. So that doesn't work. Maybe I can. Yeah. I think you might be able to see a little bit better from this side too. That's where we're going to, but I need to go this way so I can see how you're getting on. Now, what we need to do when we drop the shoulder down is we need to make sure we haven't completely collapsed when we get there. You need to keep the strength in the top of the arm. So you shouldn't look like a collapsed heap like this. You need to be upright and not collapsed inside there. And then if once you get there, you've been through all your phases, if you want to, you can start to think about releasing the top arm and lifting your arm up, the right arm up to the sky. That's it. And then if once you're there, you think you want to add the leg, just place the hand back down. Then you can stretch your right leg out across the mat and then lift the arm back up. But make sure I can feel actually here my shoulder is beginning to collapse a little bit. That's what the full bit looks like. But again, I can feel I'm collapsing a little bit there. So I know that's perhaps a bit too much for me today. So just either hold for a few breaths or try again, see what's right for you today. And then when you've had enough, coming back onto all fours. And I've just sat on my knees and going to do a few shoulder circles before we go on to the other side. My dog is very confused right now. She doesn't know what to do with herself because normally if I'm doing yoga in the morning, she's had a walk first or we do yoga in later in the day. You just don't know what's happening, do you, Holly? It's too confusing. Yes, I know. Lovely downward dog. Now we're going to come onto all fours again, and we're going to do it the other way. So I'm going to turn around this way so I can see what you're doing. Holly, would you like to move out of the way, please? Thank you. So remember, we're going to go through each part to start with. So lining yourself up with your knees under your hips, your wrists underneath your shoulders, and just start with the turning of the head. And then when you've done that a few times, you can add in bending of the elbow. So your left arm here is nice and strong, but be careful. I can always feel that I'm sort of locking into that shoulder. So it needs to be strong and firm, but not locked in, if you know what I mean. Then we're adding, sliding the hand through underneath. So the head turns, the elbow bends, and the hand slides. And then when you feel you've warmed up that pathway enough, you can start to lower down. This is where the microphone falls out. I think I might have to get myself a different microphone, you know. Sorry about this. So when you feel you can, take that head all the way down, the shoulder all the way down, but remember not to collapse. Keeping it nice and strong in the neck. And then if you want to, you can rest your head down and lift the other arm up. I am doing a very strange version of this now if you're looking at me, because I'm trying to let the microphone not fall off. Just reminding you where the hand goes. And you can come out, you can do and undo, as Rocky says. I love that phrase, do and undo the pose, or you can hold it. And remember, if you want to, you can take the leg out as well, and then the arm too. I wonder what this pose is I'm doing. It's a version of something, but it isn't thread the needle. But your shoulder and head will fit nicely down on the mat, unlike mine with the microphone on. Well done, everybody. That's looking really good. From the parts I can see anyway. And then when you've had enough, just coming back to our all fours. And then we're going to come onto a high kneel eventually. So just start to arrange yourself, maybe wiggling and jiggling those shoulders again. Might be quite nice just to bring the shoulders up towards the ears and then let them go a couple of times, just like that. There we go. And we're going to come up, as I say, onto a high kneel. And we've already sort of done a little bit of this motion. We're going to take the leg out to the side so that the middle of the sole of the foot is about in line with the knee, and just feel grounded through that foot. Then we're going to keep this hand nice and loose, and we're going to stretch that the right arm, that same arm that's got the leg away, up nice and high, and then we're going to tuck it, take it down onto our leg and bring the other arm up and send it over into our gate pose. So you can feel a lovely stretch all the way down this side of the body. Be careful with where the head is. We don't want it flopping forward. We still want to be nice and straight through the spine. It's not a forward bend, it's a side bend. So just really feel that sideways motion. And then we're going to drop that hand. And if you can, bring it all the way down to the mat. Or if you've got a block or a blanket you can place your hand on, and we're going to take the other arm over into our extended side angle pose. So, oh, I touched the wall and I didn't know I was going to do that. Again, be careful when you're here. It's not coming forwards. It's a side bend, stretching from the fingertips all the way to the outside edge of that foot. And then what you can do is you can just flow in between those two, nice and gently if you want to, or a little bit faster. Maybe working with your breath. So you move on an inhale if you want to, and then you release down on an exhale. So you're giving both sides of the body a lovely stretch with this little flow. And when you finish that set, coming back to center, releasing the leg. If you need to release the hips back down to the ground for a moment, you can. And then we're going to think about doing the other side. So we'll come back up onto a high kneel if you haven't done already, and take that other foot out to the side, feeling the strength in that leg. Again, just checking the alignment roughly is in that place. Then we're going to lift the hand up, stretch it up, and then take over to the side. Oh, I can feel it. Much harder work on this side than the other side. Notice whether this is your harder side or your easier side. And then when you're ready, you can have a go on the other part of this flow and just stretch your way into that side. See how that feels. Again, be careful not to collapse anywhere. And when you're ready, you can start flowing in between the two. I find it really hard to anchor through the outside edge of my foot when I'm doing this one. I feel I want to really lift that up. So notice what that's like for you. Notice whether you actually could do with a block on this side or a book to lean on for your hands. I have to use fingertips on this side compared to the other side, but that works okay for me to use fingertips. Really enjoying that stretching from fingertip to foot on the one side and from fingertip to hip on the other side, I guess. Then making the next pair, your last pair, settling yourself back when you're ready, taking a couple of breaths. And then we're actually going to come to our mountain pose. So come up to standing when you're ready. Have another sip of water. Thirsty this morning. So start to think about where your feet are in your mountain pose, really feeling the whole of your foot pressing down into the mat. Noticing if there's any areas in your feet which aren't feeling so great today. I know all this week I've been getting a bit of a cramp on one side on one of my feet. So just decide whether there's anywhere that needs a bit of extra stretching into today. And soften your knees, relax your shoulders. Make sure you're not tilting your pelvis forwards or backwards. Just got everything sitting in a lovely long line. Imagine the space between your shoulders and your ears could get bigger and allow you to open out even further. Think about your hands, whether you want them open and facing towards the front or whether they're more comfortable facing the body. Just if you want to close your eyes for a moment, then give yourself a little internal awareness again. And imagine yourself being the connection between the earth grounding you at your feet and the air around you supporting your body, and from above, the connection between the earth and the sky. Now we're going to do our water wheel pose. So we start off by just tucking our chin in towards our chest. And then we gradually curl the spine a little, bending the knees from the hips, going down into a forward bend with plenty of knee bend. And then almost as soon as you get there, you curl back up and bring the hands, placing them on the back of the body, bringing the elbows together, opening through the chest, lifting the head and looking up, not too far, not throwing the head back. And then as soon as you get there, you tuck in, rounding the shoulders, bending the knees, going down. So just working your way in between being forwards and back, I suppose. And our lovely water wheel pose. Enjoy the feeling in the lower back you get when you go all the way down. And then when you're coming up, enjoy the feeling opening out across the chest. Remember to listen to how fast your body wants to go today, just like we have been doing throughout the whole rest of the class. And just doing one more wherever you've got to in your circle of water wheel. Complete that circle. And then coming back just for a moment to your mountain pose. Making sure the shoulders and the hips are nice and relaxed. Thinking about those feet again, pressing the feet down into the earth. And we're just going to take a brief chair pose. So pressing into the feet. We're going to start off with our arms down by our sides, and we're just going to bend the knees, keeping a nice straight back, and then turning a little. If you want to, you can lift the arms. So the hands are stretching away. You can look up if you want to. Still open throughout the chest. Pressing into the feet, working those legs, energizing the whole of this body there. When you've had enough, you can come out, back to your mountain pose. As I want to do it a second time, but taking the arms with us. So have a little rest in your mountain pose. Then this time we'll start off with the arms up like this and sinking back into the chair pose with the arms up. So when you're ready, bending the knees, keeping that chest nice and open. Maybe bending a little further or a little less, listening to what your body needs now, whether it needs a bit of extra energy to work, or whether you just need to ease back a bit. I remember when I did my yoga cards, this pose says it enlivens your inner fire, ladies. So, and then coming out, really releasing and relaxing. Now we're going to go for our eagle pose all the way through. So we're just going to remind ourselves of the parts before we go for the full pose. So we're going to start off with our arms because we've just worked our legs in our chair pose. So reading the story of eagle pose for our kids yoga classes, it talks about eagle pose starting off by stretching out before you come in for your arms, and I don't often remember that when I'm teaching eagles. So start off by stretching your arms out wide, and then you're going to bring your elbows so that one elbow is on top of the other. And then if you can twist the arms round and bring the hands together, then you can hide behind your hands quite effectively like this. And that's our eagle arms. And if you are able to, you can lift the elbows up a little further and take the hands away from the face. That will intensify the stretch across the back of the shoulders. So just breathing into that space in between the shoulder blades here for a moment. Then just look down at your elbows, because I didn't specify a side. So just decide, I here have got my right elbow on top of my left. So I'm going to open out my arms, stretch the hands away, and then I'm going to bring the elbows together so that you're doing it the opposite way, so that I've now got my left elbow on top of my right. Twisting those hands round, bringing the palms of the hands together, or if you want to, you can just have the backs of the hands together if they don't twist all the way round. And remembering you can lift those elbows up a little higher and take the hands away from the face a little further to intensify. And breathe in to the space between the shoulder blades. And then releasing the arms, stretching wide and taking the hands down. Going to start to think about our legs now. So releasing the shoulders completely. Then we're going to take the weight into our right leg. We're going to bend the right leg. And then we're going to see if we can bring the left leg over the top of the right leg. And then if you can tuck it round. If this is a big no, then you can put your, I was trying to do mirror images then and nearly got confused, but I shall not. You can put your left foot around the other side of your right foot and do it in more of a standing version, but you still need a bit of bent knee to do that. But if you're able to keep that knee bent, take that foot over. Oh, I can nearly tuck my legs today. And without doing a great big twist round. That's the other thing it makes me want to do. Just focusing on the legs for a moment, getting those legs in roughly the right position and holding the hands out maybe, or on, that's okay. Wherever makes your legs feel most comfortable for a moment. Comfortable in eagle legs, Mary, you must be kidding. And then releasing. And we're going to just have a go on the other side in a second. So just giving the legs a wiggle. And taking the weight into the left foot, bending the left knee. Again, you can have a little try of just tucking that foot over in a standing position, or you can, with a really bent leg, take that foot over into our standing cross-legged pose. And then, no, my toes aren't, oh, I don't know. If I tuck them, I go in for the twist. I feel like a flamingo, not an eagle. And then untucking the legs. Now I need to be clever about this. What we want to do is go on our right leg with the left leg tucking over, which means we want our right elbow on top of our left. Does that make sense? So you've got your standing leg and your elbow that's on the same side will be the one that's on the top, I think. Is that right? Or no? No, that's wrong, because you want to do opposites. You want the opposite leg, your standing leg, and the elbow going over the top, I think. I don't think it matters a huge amount. I think we had big debates on this in our teacher training, actually, as to which way it goes. There's lessons for us to learn on both sides. I think we came to the conclusion. So when you're ready to, if you haven't done already, try doing the full pose. I'd start with the legs, crossing those round, opening the arms, and then tucking. Not a very steady eagle today. It's a lot harder to do it when you're talking people through because you're not concentrating on balancing. See, I still think I might have my arms wrong. When you've had enough, releasing that side. Our eagle pose is about being calm and centered when we've got a challenge to face. So obviously our challenge is doing the lovely twisting balance, and they have to be calm and centered to be able to balance there. So let's have a try on the other side, taking the weight into the left foot, bending that knee, making sure that knee is bent, because then you'll get the chance to be able to tuck that leg round, and then bringing the elbows together, twisting those arms round. When you're ready, concentrating, being calm and centered during the challenge. Well done. When you've had enough, untwisting, stretching the arms out for a moment. But we are going to do a counter pose, so don't worry too much. Garuda the eagle has to go and rescue his mother, who has lost a bet with the snakes, which makes me laugh so much, that the the eagle's mother lost a bet with the snakes, and he has to go through lots of different challenges to rescue her, you see. So we're going to just do our goddess pose to open everything out after being all nice and closed up. So I want you to step your feet wide with your feet going outwards. Then we're going to bend the knees towards the toes and take the hands up and out. So you're opening through your chest, open your fingers and sink here, feeling your legs strong, feeling everything nice and open and wide. Really stretch those shoulders back. And then when you're ready, coming up, releasing the hands, releasing the feet. And we're just going to do a nice forward bend. So we're going to do it with legs together, or have your hips about your shoulder, your feet about hip width apart. So into just our normal Ustrasana. If you want to use a wall or something, so you're not going all the way down, so you're just going halfway, then you can do. But if you're happy to and comfortable to, then we're going to bend the knees. We're going to fold from the hips with a nice straight back, taking the tummy down towards the thighs, releasing the hands when you're ready. And straightening the legs a little if you want to, if you can. I do not find it very easy to straighten the legs in this pose, so if you're better having your knees bent here, then keep your knees bent.
but breathing into the lower back and taking the belly in towards the thighs a little bit further. Imagining like you can completely fold yourself in half. Remember to keep grounded through the feet. Then when you're ready to, bending your knees again, bringing the hands to the hips, slowly unfolding with a nice straight back, bit by bit, slowly back up to standing. Well done. Now we're going to come to sitting. We're going to sit in our Baddha Konasana for a moment. So if you want to do it without using your hands, like Rocky likes to challenge us, then please do. Get in there. Well done, Sarah. Well done, everyone. So we're going to bring the soles of the feet together. The sun's coming out. Yay! And just let the knees drop away. Have an experiment with where your heels are. Can you bring your heels in a little bit closer today? Or do they want to be a bit further away? See what suits you and where they're going to be best to allow those hips to open out there. If you want to hold on to the feet, you can do, but don't. When I hold on to the feet, I have to be so careful because it makes me, I can really pull myself. It's not about pulling, it's just about releasing. So maybe hold on to the ankles, or you can place your hands anywhere really. Probably not behind you, that might unbalance you, but just breathing and letting those knees drop away a little further. And if you'd like to take a little bit of a forward bend, starting from the tummy, you can just lean forwards a little, taking the elbows in front of the legs. But if you want to stay sitting upright, then you can. That's absolutely fine. Make sure you stay nice and open still through the chest. Well done. Then bringing the knees back together. Oh my goodness, a dog nearly jumped on my shoulder. And then touching the knees from side to side, because my husband opened the back door. She was like, woohoo, at last, I'm free. Oh dear. Now, I knew I'd planned too much. I've now got to decide what we pop, what we leave in and what we take out, because I'm doing so many different timings of classes, it's really difficult to make sure I have the right amount for you all. I think what we're going to do actually is we are going to do child's pose. So if you'd like to sit back on your sitting bones, with your sitting bones towards your heels, sitting up nice and tall, and then when you're ready, fold forwards. So we don't always take that time with the beginning of child's pose. We'd sort of flop down into it. So sometimes it's nice to do that sitting on the heels, sitting up nice and tall, and then folding forwards. Remember, when you're here, you can either have your hands by your ankles with the elbows down on the ground, or you can have your head on fists if that's more comfortable for you. Or if you want to involve the upper back more, you can do extended child's pose with the arms out in front of you. Just breathing here, enjoying the nice warmth of the body you get from this little tucked up pose. I don't know why I called it a little pose, but
I suppose you're making yourself little.
And we're going to turn our child's pose into our hare pose. So just come back up to sitting on your knees. With we're going to think about the crown of the head being placed onto the mat. I'll just show you in case you haven't done it before, but you probably will have. So you lift the hips this time, and the crown of the head goes onto the mat. And then you can sort of make sure you're not collapsing here, stretching those hands away. And you'll get a nice stretch through the back of the neck. So when you're ready, if you haven't done already, oh, you all have, well done. Really feel that lovely open feeling. Try not to roll too far forwards. It's the crown of the head that is on the mat, because it's very tempting to roll those shoulders forwards, and that would just make it a bit too much for the neck. So keep that crown of the head grounded, the feet grounding, and those arms stretching away towards the heels. This is really good practice for building up into headstand, for feeling the weight in the top of your head, because we don't fully appreciate until we start practicing lots of headstands how much your head needs to build up into it, I suppose, if you're not used to it. Then when you've had enough, taking the hips back towards the heels and slowly releasing and coming back up. Well done. Giving the shoulders a bit of a wriggle. Oh, hello, sunshine. So pleased the sun has come out. Now, I was going to do flapping fish, but we haven't really got time for it, and you can't just sort of go into flapping fish, so I have to miss that out, I'm afraid. But if you wanted to, the reason I mentioned it, if you know what flapping fish is and you want to do your relaxation in flapping fish, then you can. It's the one where you lie on your tummy and you take one leg out to the side and you can bring your elbows around to join it. You could do relaxation in flapping fish today. The only problem with that is you'd have to remember to swap sides, but if anyone does want to, I can help you with remembering that. But if you're not wanting to do flapping fish, then you can come into Arshavasana with the legs long, the arms out to the sides, or if they're more comfortable on the body, or having the knees bent. So just start to arrange yourself into a nice, comfortable position. So Rachel, I'll remind you at some point to swap onto the other side. Is that okay? Yeah. I don't think Sarah's in flapping fish, are you, Sarah? No. No. So just make yourself lovely and comfortable. I've got a nice relaxation or meditation to read to you, which is actually aimed more towards children, but I thought it's a really nice message, especially for finishing off our Ahimsa week, that it's thinking about what's inside you. And I thought that's really important all the time anyway, but it's a lovely little meditation. And then as a nod to the fact we've just sort of finished Remembrance Week, I'd like to sing you a song called Only Remembered, which is from Warhorse, well, it was actually originally a hymn before it was in Warhorse. But again, the words of that is all about leaving behind something good in this world, I suppose. So I thought they fitted together really nicely and wanted to do those for you today. So making sure you have completely given yourself up to the ground, released and relaxed, breathing slightly deeper than you would usually, perhaps. Allowing your breath to be the thing that helps you to release and relax that little bit further. And just repeat to yourself for a moment, I am still. And notice how clever your body is to instantly relax easily. You can do it. The body's sinking down further and further as your muscles become soft and limp. And feeling so comfortable. And your body just seems to relax more and more with every word I say. Now imagine a small sparkle somewhere deep inside your heart. This small sparkle begins to glow brighter now. You can feel it reaching up and expanding out. The glow becomes brighter and brighter, filling up your chest. You can feel the warmth spreading out, touching your tummy and your shoulders. It's getting bigger and bigger and brighter, glowing all the way throughout your body, down to your toes. Now you feel your whole body glowing like a radiant star, shining out. This wonderful light is your light, your shining light. It's your personal brilliance. It's all the love in your heart and the sum of all your possibilities. And remember, your possibilities are endless. Shine your light wherever you go. Sharing your light makes others happy. It makes you happy as well. It's a wonderful feeling to share your light. By doing so, you spread the love around and help other people to do the same. And when you shine your light brightly, it lets others know that it's okay for them to shine their light brightly too. And when we're all shining our lights, it makes the world a more beautiful, peaceful place. Sharing your light can be other things too. Something as simple as sharing your smile, or doing a kind deed, holding a happy thought about someone, or sending a happy wish to someone who's feeling sad. It could mean helping someone who's younger than you or older than you, or not as strong as you. All of this shining your light helps you to discover a warm, wonderful, warm, fuzzy feeling inside your heart. Sharing your light means sharing the real you and being who you really are. It means standing up for what is right and making the choices that feel right in your heart. So Rachel, if you can, switch sides if you want to. Just focusing on your breathing now. keeping all the good feelings you have inside your body. Keeping your light shining. Fading away like the stars of the morning, losing their light in the glorious sun. Thus will we pass from the earth and its toiling, only remembered by what we have done. Only remember, only remember, only remember by what we have done. Thus will we pass from the earth and its toiling, only remember by what we have done. Only the truth that in life we have spoken, only the seed that on earth we have sown, these shall pass onward when we are forgotten. Fruits of the harvest and what we have done. Only remember, only remember, only remember by what we have done. Thus will we pass from this earth in its toiling. Only remember by what we have done. Now taking some nice deep breaths, allowing the movement of your breath to waken up the muscles, slowly stretching your body, maybe wriggling your fingers and toes, doing whatever feels right in this moment, any intuitive movement you want to make, but keeping with you this calm and relaxed feeling. Take it away with you for the rest of your day, and remember to shine your lights. So when you're ready, coming to a seated position, we're going to bring our hands together into Namaste. And I say to you all, Namaste. Thank you for joining me this morning. We've made the sun come out, and I hope you'll have a lovely rest of your Sunday. If you want to unmute, say goodbye, then you can, or if you just want to slip off into a lovely, shiny, lighty day, then feel free.
Oh, thank you, Mary. That was wonderful.
You're
Thank
very
you.
welcome.
Thanks, Mary. Lovely to see you.
You too.
Thank you very
Lots
much.
of love.
Have a lovely day, everyone.
You
And
too.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.